So for more reaction and insight, it's a pleasure to welcome Eric Mandel, founder and director at the Middle East Political Information Network and senior editor for security at the Jerusalem Report. He joins us from Florida. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. Good to see you. So Benjamin Netanyahu heads to Washington on Tuesday. He meets with the U.S. president at the White House again on Wednesday, eager, of course, to make sure Israel's concerns are clear and that the apparent ongoing talks in Oman don't only focus on the nuclear threat. Your thoughts, your assessment?
Well, I think this may be of the 7 visits, this would be the 7th visit since Trump 2.0 occurred, since the inauguration last year, that this may be the most important. And the reason is that the president is now being lobbied by people on one side who are, we'll say, more isolationists, saying, don't get involved in a war. This is not a one and done. Take a victory here by signing a nuclear agreement. On the other hand, you probably have the Marco Rubio group that is saying, hey, we have a once in a lifetime once a generational opportunity to collapse the Iranian regime. We cannot stop because the president has put down red lines. He had said about protecting the Iranian protesters. And if focusing on simply the nuclear is where the president is going and not dealing with the ballistic missiles, which Israel considers the more immediate existential threat, then that is going to put Israel in a terrible bind. The president signs a nuclear deal and it says that Israel cannot strike Iran, and the ballistic missiles continue, where they could overwhelm the defensive array that Israel has of anti-missiles. Maybe the president would not allow CENTCOM to help Israel stop ballistic missiles coming in if Israel strikes unilaterally. There are so many potential game-changing things that could occur this Wednesday. And so Bibi, I think, is talking not just about the Gaza things and not just about Syria, not just about Hezbollah, but needs to be laser-focused on Iran and basically getting the president not to allow Iran to draw out or drag out negotiations as they continue the ballistic missile production.
And certainly that's such a concern here in Israel, that Iran is simply kicking the can down the road, buying time with more apparent efforts at talks and no tangible outcomes at all. Also concerns about this head of the snake, the funding of Iranian proxies. What else does Benjamin Netanyahu need to do to convince the U.S. leader of the reach of the Islamic regime right now?
He has to remind the president that Iran, according to our State Department, through many, many administrations, has been the leading state sponsor of terror, with the blood of American soldiers on its hands. Some of the notorious was the IEDs that Iran provided during America's time in Iraq. We have hundreds and hundreds of soldiers who were killed and injured with permanent injuries. That Iran, since its founding, has been about death to America. And that there is a huge difference between this Iranian regime that is ideologically motivated, that is not only anti-Western and anti-Semitic, but has designs on the rest of the Middle East. And they are buying time. That I think Benjamin Netanyahu needs to explain to him, please, Mr. President, take off your time frame from a Western time frame. We are dealing in the Middle East here. They have strategic patience. They want to wait you out. And what makes this incredibly important is that for America, this is not existential threats, but very important, and the message will go around the world. But for Israel, this is as existential. A nuclear Iran is existential, and a ballistic missile where they could overwhelm the anti-missiles, defense anti-missiles, will be overwhelming. Israel could be in a horrifically difficult position. And then when you're looked at in the Middle East as weak, that's when your enemies come in and fill the vacuums. And so getting President Trump on board with what Prime Minister Netanyahu wants to do at this point is incredibly important, because I believe that if Israel is strong, that advances American national security interests, and he has to remind the president of that.
Meanwhile, of course, those U.S. strike carriers are in position. The region is watching. The world is watching for now. Thank you so much, Eric Mandel. Always appreciate your insights live from Florida. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.